taken a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Nissan Rogue. This is going to be a full walkthrough, letting you know everything you need to know about the steering wheel cluster. If you want to walk through on the infotainment, you'll find it down in the description of this video. So first thing, the steering wheel inside of the Rogue, you've got the option for heat, and it's just by the driver's side climate adjust on the right-hand side, so single level. Steering wheel is also going to be manual telescoping. So done by your left knee, there's a release to go in, out, up or down to find that perfect position. Once you do, click it, lock it back into place. There are so many different buttons. The ones along the right-hand side here, so these ones are going to be for cruise control. The one here is going to be a voice command prompt, so it's a Google Assistant, so you'd be able to do things like change songs, radio stations, navigate using your voice, and a few other things. So it is pretty useful being able to just change songs and stations that way or navigate with your voice. You can answer or hang up on a phone call. And then this button, so this is a distance indicator that works in conjunction with the cruise control system. So you can just push the cruise control button to turn it on, and this is the adaptive cruise system. So if the car in front of you slows down, yours is automatically going to brake. They change lanes, pick up speed, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed. So you set your speed by pushing down, and then you can either increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time, push and hold up or push and hold down to go to the nearest 5 or 0. So you're essentially jumping up 5 kilometers miles per hour at a time, down 5 kilometers miles per hour at a time. You can push the cancel button to temporarily pause, hit the brake to pause, and then push back up in order to resume your previously set speed. And then there's also a distance indicator. So there are 3 unique levels. So it's how close are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. One nice thing, if you go to push and hold to turn this on, what it's going to do is turn you into a traditional cruise control instead. So you've got either traditional or adaptive. I personally love the adaptive, but the traditional cruise, you set it at 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, car in front of you slows down, yours is not braking. So you just have to make sure you pay a little bit more attention. I'm personally a bigger fan of using this system though, but if you want to see a live demonstration of how it works, check down in the description of this video. One other thing I'll point out, down by my left knee, you'll see this little steering wheel icon, and that's going to be for steering assist. So when you've got the adaptive cruise control system turned on, so the ProPilot Assist, it's going to keep you perfectly balanced in your lane. Though it's not a hands-free driving system, but I mean, it can take you around bends with your hands off the wheel temporarily, but it's a brilliant system at the same time. Like I said, just get the hang of it because it's a really useful system that you can use. Along the left-hand side, a series of other buttons. Change between songs, radio stations. You can go this way in order to go to a shortcut menu. And then you can scroll up or down using the wheel here. Left and right gets you to some additional options, which I'll touch on in a second. Then there's also a volume rocker, so you can go up or down. There's no mute button though, so you just have to button push or push down on the screen in order to turn the audio off, so the power button up there. The car has paddle shifters, so it's minus on the left side, plus on the right-hand side in order to adjust out gears, which is interesting because the Rogue has a CVT transmission, so there's no set number of gears, but it's kind of neat that you can adjust these out if you want a bit more power. But if you want to walk through and seeing how paddle shifters actually work, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough instead. Stick on the left-hand side is to flash out your high beams. You can't permanently lock them out though, because I'm in the auto mode right now. So you've got a few unique light modes. If you want to permanently lock your high beams out, go to this top mode, push away to turn them on, pull towards you in order to turn them off. But when you're in the auto mode, there's a button on the tip of the stick in order to turn you into an auto high beam mode. And what that means is if the vehicle recognizes you need your high beams, it's automatically going to turn them on. If somebody's oncoming, it's going to turn them off before turning them back on again. So it's actually kind of neat the way that it works. But you're going to be in auto mode the majority of the time. Along the right-hand side, you can adjust your wipers, so there are a few different options there. When you're on the intermittent level, you could then use the rocker here in order to change how much rain is hitting the windshield, so how fast. So you can essentially make it go faster or go into one of the crazy modes. On the right-hand side, that's going to be for your rear wiper. You're going to pull towards you to get the front wiper fluid going, push away for the rear. Then, so many different things about the cluster screen inside of Nissan vehicles. So you've got your traditional tachometer off to the left-hand side, speedometer off to the right, outside temperature, your time, your current odometer, your current fuel level, that's down a few different ways. So you've got your kilometers or miles per until empty, and then you've got a different fuel gauge this way. Along this side, it's going to be your engine temperature, what gear you're currently in, but that's customizable. And then you've also got your current road speed. So this one, 20 kilometers an hour maximum, whether or not the driver's seatbelt's plugged in as well. And then you've got a series of different buttons here that you can utilize. So first one is a shortcut menu. So you can change the view out instead if you want. It's kind of unique. So that one's going to be a matter of preference, whether or not you go for that kind of classic look, or if you want the newer style look instead. Either way, well, let's look at the difference here. So it is kind of neat. I mean, a matter of personal preference, but I'm personally a fan of that traditional look, but it's going to come down to you. From there, you've got different options for audio sources. So you can jump up and down between audio sources. So AM, FM, Sirius XM. If you had a USB stick that was plugged in, that would show up. So it's essentially whatever active audio sources you have available. It's kind of neat, but you've got the option of using your voice in order to change out to different things as well. But it is kind of cool. You can adjust your audio source out on the fly this way. There's some driver assistance settings, so lane assist. Lane assist is an interesting one because if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it can nudge you back into your lane with the intervention. And then steering wheel vibration as well. So what it can do here is with the vibration is it's going to give you a little bit of a shake, almost like you're running over rumble pavement if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling. From there, you've also got your personal display. And your personal display here is going to be along the left-hand side. So you've got your gear, trip counters, you can have navigation showing and things like that as well, or blank. There are a series of different options that are available. So even if you wanted something like your trip counter or your fuel economy, you could have that done. And when you change it out to a different view there, so you can see it's kind of fixed in place. So this little part you can customize to a degree based off of the info there. And then series of other settings here. So you can go left or right in order to go to some other options. So there are a series of different pages. You've got your basic home page with this like calming view instead. You've got your trip counter, so manual reset that are available there. So as of right now, I've gotten pretty decent fuel economy. It was 7.2 liters per 100 before I parked at about 69 kilometers. So pretty good fuel economy inside of the ride. You can push and hold the OK button if you want to, in order to go to a few different options. So you can go to 1 versus 2 versus auto. If you push and hold inside, you've got the option to reset. So you can reset all items, fuel economy, driving distance, time, and things like that. And that's going to be for whatever option you're on here. So I'm on manual 1 versus 2 versus auto. So you'd have the option of resetting any of these if you want. Shooting across, there's tire pressure, auto start stop. And the auto start stop one is actually kind of interesting. So there is a button down by your left knee that you could toggle the auto start system on or off. I'm personally a fan of not having it on, but that one's going to come down to a matter of preference. When you turn the car off, back on, it's going to reset. Nothing exciting there. You've also got navigation. Okay, so hold on. Look at this. Mapping cluster. And then when you go into that meter view instead, fuller mapping cluster. I think that looks so cool. So if you've got an active route going, it can actually show you what's going on inside of the screen there. So actually, while we're going here, I'm going to search for something nice and Canadian of me. Okay, here we go, and start. Watch this. Got a route going. Look at that.
Northeast toward Henry Street, Durham Regional Road 45.
Love it. So I'm going to keep that route going for a second here. But you can have a few different views and then changing back to that meter view instead. Same thing. I like that. Nice. Oh, that's good. And then back across, you've got your radio station that you're currently on. Button push in order to change the active source. And then you've got this screen with a few other options. So you've got your speed sign, your current safety systems that are enabled. So we've got blind spot systems. So if somebody enters the blind spot on either side, it's going to let you know. Forward collision assist, so it could potentially brake for you, and then your lane change assist as well. But you could also adjust all of these different settings. Do you want them on, yay or nay? And then, actually, hold on, I think there's one more. Yeah, so this one. So these are going to go green when you are essentially driving and you've got some of the safety settings turned on. So if you've got the adaptive cruise control system turned on, you're going to notice that these go green, and that's essentially holding you in place. It's holding your speed, I should say. And then once the lane is recognized, if you've got that steering wheel button turned on, that one's going to keep you nice and balanced. So it does look kind of cool as you start driving. From there, you've got a boatload of settings. Traction stability control, do you want that on or off? Some of these things you'll see are duplicated, so lane assist and things like that. Steering assist is the one that with the adaptive cruise on is going to follow the lane. Lane assist, you've seen that one. Blind spot assist, do you want that on? So if somebody enters the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, it's going to highlight in the side view to let you know. Emergency assist, do you want the vehicle to automatically brake for you if there's a potential collision? And then rear braking, so if you're in reverse, there's something behind you, it can slam on the brakes for you. Traffic sign assist, nothing exciting there. Speed adjust by route. So what you'll notice is that if the speed on your route goes from, let's say, 100 down to 80, it's going to let you know that you can push the button in order to either increase or decrease your speed as necessary. Nothing exciting there. Parking assist, let's see, so front versus rear sonar. So if you're getting closer to an obstacle, it's going to let you know of a potential collision. Let's see there. Do we have? No. All right. So, but you're going to get beeping as you go forwards or backwards, letting you know that you're getting too close to an obstacle. You can turn those off. How loud do you want it to be as you go? And rear cross traffic alert. If you're backing up and somebody's coming perpendicular, it can tell you of a potential collision. Driver alert. If you start to veer over too many times without signaling, eventually it's going to tell you that you should probably take a break. And let's see, nothing else exciting there. Personal display. So again, that's the one along the left side. You can see it adjusting. So if you have an active route going, you can see your turn-by-turn directions there, but you'd also have the option for full map and cluster like we saw, and a few other things. I'm a bigger fan of having the fuel economy there instead. Head-up display is available inside of the ride too, so you can adjust the brightness, the height, the rotation, things like that. I always recommend for the head-up display, maximum brightness. And that's whether you're day or night driving. It just makes it infinitely easier to see. I'll show you in a second. And then content selection. So if you have a route going, it can show you your audio if you have that going, and so many other things. So let's take a peek at the head-up display. So you can see there. So with maximum brightness on, using polarized glasses, you can still see it. It's tricky to see, but you can still see it when you've got that maximum brightness setting done. And then you can rotate it if you want to. So if you wanted to kind of customize it to kind of make it your own, depending on how you sit, you can adjust the height as well to bring it higher or lower based off of your own personal preference. There's also a button by your left knee that you can push in order to turn the head-up display on or off. So it's pretty straightforward there. When you turn the head-up display off, it grays it out. So you just have to make sure, and that's just down by your left knee there. So this button you're pushing in order to turn the head-up display on or off. You've got eco mode, nothing exciting there. TPMS settings, do you want to be in PSI, KPA, or bar? Clock, do you even want that showing up? Yay or nay? And then from there, vehicle settings, power back door, do you want to have that button active for getting into the trunk? Yay or nay? Welcome lights, very useful. Auto room lamp, and then accent lighting. So you've got some ambient light inside of the vehicle. It's subtle, but it is kind of nice at the same time. Auto headlight, when do you want those to turn on? Nothing exciting. Auto light or lamp delay. When you go to lock the vehicle, do the lamps just turn off, or do they stay on for up to, I think it's 3 minutes, so 180 seconds. That's going to be a personal matter of preference. And locking, let's see, selective unlock now. When do you want the doors to automatically unlock? When you shift to park, when you turn the car off, or do you just never want them to automatically unlock? So you have to just double pull the door handle in order to get out. Ooh, this is a useful one. When you go to lock the car, do you want some sort of audible feedback? That's a useful one, walk-away lock. So if you've forgotten to lock the doors and you start walking away, it's automatically going to unlock the doors, and then it can automatically unlock the doors as you start to walk towards the vehicle. Wipers, reverse link. If you've got the front wipers going and you go into reverse, it's automatically going to turn on the rear wiper for you. Driving position, seat slide. So if you turn the vehicle off, it's going to lower and back the driver's seat up for you to get in and out of the vehicle a little bit easier. Let's see, maintenance. If you're doing work yourself, you could reset your oil filter, tire pressure, things like that. You can customize the display a tiny little bit. So you've got your menu selection. Nothing exciting there. Route guidance. Do you want to get alerts when you're coming to an upcoming turn? Welcome effect when you go to first turn the vehicle on that we saw. Units. Do you want to be in liters per 100, miles per gallon, whatever the case may be? So if you're going cross-border, it'll effectively change everything out. So it changes it from kilometers to miles, whatever the case may be, for everything. So very useful if you're going the opposite side of the border. You can go PSI, KPA, or bar. You can change it out to Fahrenheit or Celsius. And when you do that, it changes up what's going on inside of your climate as well too, which is kind of neat. So that one, same idea, matter of personal preference. Are you north or south side of the border? And then language, do you want to be in either English, French, or Spanish? Factory reset, do you want to bring everything back to a default? So if you've played around with the settings too much inside of the cluster screen, you can just bring it back to your default setting instead. And I think that's it. Yeah, we've got a route going there, which looks good. Just your blank naked screen. It's a solid. But I love that you've got the full mapping cluster view that are available. You could adjust the brightness of the cluster screen down by your left knee. So there's the option there of doing it. So if you want it a little bit brighter, darker, whatever the case may be. So I know that is a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Nissan Rogue.